Welcome back to the podcast. My name is Joseph Clough, and I'm incredibly excited to be with you today. This whole episode is for you and I to start to rise up to be who we desire to be. What do we deserve to be? The goals, the dreams that we have that maybe we've maybe not been totally putting our attention to. Or maybe you have that goal and dream, but you have that bit of fear and a bit of that scarcity attached to it. And I want to make sure that I can hopefully guide you, motivate you to be able to overcome those worries and doubts, to let go of the self-sabotage, to let go of the scarcity, so we can finally achieve those dreams. Maybe you want to be able to increase your income. I don't mind if you want to double it, triple it. That's what a lot of my clients do. I don't mind if you want to be able to let go of the imposter syndrome, get that career promotion. I'm here to try to support you each step of the way. That is what I love doing. And the reason why I love helping and supporting people, because I've been there. I've been, most probably to a degree, where you have been. Maybe we've not shared the same life stories and the life events. However, there was a time when I just felt like I could not achieve my goals. I felt like I wasn't enough. I didn't feel of value. I felt incapable. And that was a huge, huge issue for me. It was crazy. It caused me to drop out of college in doing business. And I didn't show up to the exams for that matter. And the psychology within my mind just made me feel like I wasn't enough. That worry and that doubt and that anxiety just filled me up with dread. And I don't know if you've ever been there, and I hope you aren't, but if you are, I want to be able to try to help and support you, because I overcame it. I kind of fell into doing what I'm doing to this moment and invested in getting all the free work out there, because I know what it's like to be in pain. I know what it's like to show up but not get the life that I want. Now, my life is incredibly different right now. I've gone on a crazy amount of journeys over the last 20 years. I've gone through some big events. Even this year, me and Melissa, we separated, we divorced. We're still great best friends, and we're just actually teaching this past weekend. And although it's been one of those times where like lots of stuff happening, the one thing I can greatly appreciate about both of us in that experience, that we were ready to be resourceful. We were ready to like be best friends, to be able to rise together, to do the things we need to do. And I'm incredibly happy for her and her journey, and how I'm still going to be a part of that journey because we're in business together. And even though there were some times which obviously were not that good, I had to rely within myself of what has to happen. I had to rise up. I had to make decisions about where I'm heading. And usually in the past, I would have been petrified of those things. I would have been so fearful, so worried about that confusion, about not knowing what I'm doing with my life, or the events and the stresses happening. And not to say I was 100% amazing and happy along the way, but I was resourceful. So if you can have experiences where you feel that doubt, if you feel that fear, if you feel that worry, and it just wakes you up in the middle of the night and you don't know what to do, remember there are people out there who can support you. There are people out there who have gone through things which are similar. Maybe not the exact same life story, like I said. Maybe you didn't have the same story as me when my teacher made me stand up in front of everyone and totally petrified me in the spot when I did not know what the answer was. And when the teacher said, look, Joseph, if you don't know this mathematical question, you're not going to get anywhere when it comes to secondary school. And I took that for my whole life, because as a child, everything is so personal. It got to the point where I did not know what to do. But I made a decision when I was 18 years old. I made a decision that I wanted something more, and I did not know how to get there. Maybe you're in that place where everything which is showing up around you is just fear and scarcity. Maybe you don't see the opportunities. Maybe all you do see is that doom and gloom. But even in the darkness, we have the ability to see the light. We have the ability to go on the inside and do what has to be done. And it's all on you. And the reason why I say it's all on you, because that is the assumption, that is taking responsibility, that is taking ownership for the present situation. You see, when you go in charge of your mind, you're in charge of the results. When you begin to wake up and go, look, I'm going to rise up today and do what has to be done. I'm going to conquer that fear. You see, what is running that fear? It's your unconscious mind. What is running the self-doubt? What is running the limiting thoughts about your potentiality? What is running that darkness and that fear and that scarcity when it comes to your goals and dreams? It is nothing outside of you. But the thing is, we try to change everything outside of us. We try to change the situation to get out of stress. We try to change the situation so we're not in that fear. But guess what? We're still in the prison of the mind. Because no matter how many times you change the situation, you're still there. So it's not something that we must change on the external. We've got to go on the inside, look ourselves in the mirror and go, even though what I look back, or what looks back at me in that mirror, maybe that's not the me I want to see. Maybe I'm not in the right place. Even though I'm looking in that mirror and everything is not going the way that I like, there's going to have to be that part of me and that part of you which goes, I'm going to do this. I'm going to take the battle on. I'm going to refuse to battle with myself, and I'm going to start to reconnect with that part of me which is fearful. And I don't know how long that fear and that worry and that doubt has been in existence for. I don't know if it was 1 year old. I don't know if it was 11 years old. I don't know if it was this event or that event. And I don't really mind those events. Obviously, I don't want us to be going through those events, but it's not about the event. If we just say that that past is who creates who we are, that means we are destined to be able to stay that person. But that's not who you are. Whatever you think, you are always more. There's always that glimmer of hope. There's always that part of you which I believe wants to rise up. And even to the point where you rise up, that it actually becomes exciting as much as it is daunting. Because I think if you have it on your heart to have something, to be something, to receive your goals and dreams, if that little part of you is in there, that is worth fighting for. So we can start to let go of the conditioned past, where we don't have to buy into what society expects of us, where we don't have to buy into what people think of us. Sometimes people try to pull us down. And I'm sure you've been there when they've tried to stop you, hold you back. But if they're trying to pull you down, where are they? They're beneath you. If they're trying to pull you back, they're behind you. So let's not go down to that level. Remember that there may be even just playing out their own fears. And those fears are trying to be projected onto us because that's what they think is possible. And they start to see that within you. But just because people or society sees that of us, it doesn't mean we have to play the same game. When you get your mind right, the facts don't count. When you start to tune into your desires, what you want out of life, and you take that massive inspired action, one of my famous quotes that I love is from Neville Goddard, who says, "Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and act upon it with conviction." So we're not talking about just manifesting a life, because that's just wishful thinking. But you must assume the feeling of your desire. So what do you want? What do you really want out of your life? And if you didn't achieve that, if you carried on that fear, carried on that internal conflict for the rest of your life, and you did not hit those dreams and goals, how would that make you feel? I'm sure there'll be a sense of, or a big sense of regret. Maybe that should be a bigger fear than the present fear that we have about what is possible. So if you're like me and you don't want to go down that road, you have to make a decision. You've got to decide what your boundaries are. You've got to decide and declare what you want out of life. So what are you going to do? Are we going to stay the same? Are we going to just put up with the feelings that we feel? We're going to let our own fear hold us back? Because no one else is holding us back. No one else is keeping us stuck. It's just the unconscious mind. The unconscious mind feels as if it's protecting you. You see, that anxiety is because it doesn't want you to trip up. It doesn't want you to fail. It doesn't want you to get into a situation where the past repeats itself. You see, your unconscious mind is running by a story. It's running by a pattern. And that pattern is something that it doesn't want to go through again. Maybe it was one big event. Maybe it was multiple events. But it doesn't want to keep doing it. So it provides the anxiety, and it provides the fear, the worry, the doom and the gloom and the scarcity, the self-sabotage, because it doesn't want you to get hurt. It doesn't want you to go in those places. So even though your unconscious mind is running these anxieties, fears, the imposter syndrome, the beliefs of not being enough, not being capable, not being of value, all of those things, the fear of being found out, the fear of success, even though your unconscious mind is deep-seatedly running that system within you, we don't have to play to it. We don't have to say, well, that's just it. My unconscious mind's going to lead my life, because that's not how it works. It may be appearing real. It may be appearing like that's what's happening. But your unconscious mind should be serving you. And it is to a degree, because it's trying to keep you safe, right? The behavior, the results that it's getting in the anxiety and what it does to our body, we know that the stress creates the chain or breaks the chain of good health. We don't want that to happen. We rarely think about it. Let me ask you a question. How often throughout the day does your worry, doubt, or anxiety, or the beliefs that aren't serving you, that just make you feel not enough, how many minutes, how many hours does that take up of your time, even if it's happening beneath the surface? Is it 1 hour? Well, even if it is 1 hour, that's 365 hours a year you're wasting on the issue. You're wasting on the time spent on it. Now, of course, if we do a lot of more mathematics, we can get way up there, because most people, I would say on average, even if it's beneath the surface, is there ever present. Even when we sleep, our body is not restoring itself, because it's trying to understand and articulate and trying to resolve, but it hasn't got the skills or the tools to do so. How are you expecting your unconscious mind to change and transform if it's just doing all that it knows? It doesn't know that yet. It doesn't know the success. It doesn't know what's on the other side of fear. And if we're talking about fear, fear is simply an illusion. That's all it is. It's an illusionary thing that we have within us. And it's not something that we're even really meant to be having. And I'll tell you why. Fear and worry and anxiety is a secondary response system. It's a conditioned response system. And if it's a conditioned response system, what is the primary? The primary is the fight and flight response. That is hardwired into your system. So if we let go of the inappropriate and the unwarranted fear and doubts and the anxiety, we can just rely on the physical unconscious system of us to run the fight and flight when we need it. So if you feel like you got to hold on to that fear for the rest of your life and that anxiety, remember that is not who you are. Your unconscious mind is just running it through the conditioning. We've talked about this before. It's been sedated by its past. It's been sedated by culture and society and expectations. It's been sedated by the events that we went through. But those events do not have to dictate your future. They really don't. If you're going to rise up today with me, you've got to go on the inside and go, I am ready. I'm ready for more. I'm ready to receive more of what I want. Instead of focusing on all the things which are getting in my way, maybe I'm going to change my attention to focus on what I want. What if we just said that anxiety is a signal to do just that? Anxiety is not a signal for you to stop. Anxiety is a signal to work upon it. Your system, your unconscious mind is simply saying that, look, there's something we must pay attention to. That's all it is. It's a signal that you must consciously pay attention to. So why are we not paying attention to it in the right way? Because right now we're paying attention in it because we're just living in it. But that's not paying attention. That's really just existing and wallowing within the fear and the imposter syndrome and all the doubts and all those things. If we're truly going to change our life, we must take that signal and go, okay, things right now are not good. Even though they're not good, I'm going to rise up and take it on as a challenge. Why should we feel defeated by a challenge? Surely that is where we grow. That is where we expand our consciousness by learning in the challenge. We've been taught, especially I'd say over the last 10, 15 years, that we must just be subdued to that fear, worry, and doubt. And there are many reasons for doing so. Fear sells, literally does in marketing. If you create lots of fear on the news and things like that, usually there's lots of adverts next to get you in the consumption to make you feel better. But our body is being tricked, our mind is being tricked. What if we don't do that for a moment? What if we listen to the signal and go, what is it really trying to do? Well, we now know it's trying to protect us. Well, how can we change it? How can we get the unconscious mind to produce something else? That's the education we've got to look for. We've got to educate our unconscious mind, and that comes from you. Yeah, you can get help from people to support you and help you and get you to where you want to be. The quickest and fastest way to success is doing just that. But even still, it starts with you. So rather looking on the outside at all the madness in the world and all the stresses that are having an effect on your body, rather than looking at our past and thinking, well, that's just going to be our future. Why don't we make decisions which are going to make and look after our future self? So that future you does not have to go down the same path as the past you. What you do now in this moment will dictate your future. What you do right here, right now, in every moment after, is causing you to change. Now you can choose to stay the same, remain the same, or you can choose something different. You don't have to know all the answers. Sometimes just think, well, how do I do all this? Actually creates more noise in your mind. It creates more worry. It creates more stress and overwhelm that you then self-sabotage yourself even more. What if we just forget that for a moment and we actually look within ourselves and start at the basics? Look within yourself and listen to what is really happening. And if you don't like what is happening, assume the responsibility to do something every single day to be able to make you wake up to the true potential within you. There are so many people around the world who have achieved the dreams and goals that you want. Now, if they can have it, why not you? Well, the why not, and the reason for that is, we just haven't found the answer yet. We haven't found the solution. As I said, the first step is assumption of responsibility. The second step is beginning to notice what those signals really mean. Are we going to be in that constant battle? Are we going to just be fighting ourselves, fighting to success, or are we going to do it in a flow state? Let's reconnect with ourselves. All you are right now, if you're going through anxiety, fear, and imposter syndrome, all you are right now, if you have that limiting belief, is out of rapport with yourself. You're like in a miscommunication. Your unconscious mind is going one way, you are consciously wanting the other, and that deepens the divide. We've got to come together and start to negotiate new ways of being. You've got to educate your unconscious mind to look for something more. How can we get the unconscious mind to feel safe while still receiving the abundance and the opportunities around you? That is what has to happen. And it can be scary, but that's okay. When you're on the edge of a breakthrough, is more often than not the most stressful time. It's going to be the craziest of times. It's going to be the biggest of challenges. So realize that maybe if you're going through stress, if you're going through that self-doubt, if you're going through the fear, if you're living in the darkness, maybe because it's your opportunity to look for that light. Maybe it's your opportunity to reach out for more. You see, you can keep on climbing and climbing to where you want to be if you put the work into it. Sometimes it means giving up our past stories. We buy into our past stories as if they're real, as if it's our identity. But they are just stories. They're stories we've been told or stories we've been telling ourselves at a conscious and even deeper than that, our unconscious level. When we start to go, look, what is the story I've been telling myself, and am I prepared to keep on going? Am I prepared to keep on living that same story? Or am I going to create a new one? Am I going to write my own script for my life? Where I may even have to let go of some people in my life. Maybe I've got to put my boundaries and values out there and go, look, I'm more than this. I'm more than the stress that is being given to me. And if it's given to me because I'm surrounding myself in environments which are not helpful, that are not supporting or growing or nurturing, maybe it's good to plant ourselves somewhere else where we can absorb what is needed to be absorbed. That is you being resourceful. And like I said, look, I'm not saying it's easy. It's very hard doing it alone. Sometimes it's a bit of a challenge doing it with someone. But just because it's a challenge, why shy away from it? I bet if you look back to your past successes, I don't mind how big or small they were, there's always one thing. Now that one thing was a challenge. For any goal or dream that you've achieved, no matter how big or small, there was a level of discipline. There was a level of going and taking responsibility. There was a level of fear. There was a level of stress. Well, am I going to make it? But you kept on moving forward. Even if we get knocked down, we keep on getting up and moving forward. We keep on doing it until we get to where we want to be. What if we use the toxicity, I can't even say the word, the toxicity, it's a new word there, the toxic areas of our life that are coming up, why don't we use that as momentum? Why don't we use that as going, look, I'm going to utilize that. If someone says, no, Joseph, you cannot do that, I'm going to go, yes, I can, and why not? Even if my unconscious mind says, look, there's going to be a challenge, I'm going to go, great. I'm looking for the learning. I'm looking for the growth. I'm looking for what will build me. You see, when I was in my darkest points, and there has been many of them, I had a great childhood in terms of my family and everything. But there was something within me which felt lost still, which would have that dread. But that dread caused me to wake up to what is possible on the other side. It caused me to look for something more. There is a lesson in the struggle. There is a learning in the struggle. You see, when we put our attention to what is really important in our life, something that we truly, truly want, are you ready to give up some things to allow more in? Are you ready to give up maybe people? Are you ready to give up some toxic environments? Are you even prepared to give up some things that you're doing, which could be fine and good, but are you willing to give them up to allow something more in? I always remember the story that is told, and there's probably many different versions of the story. But there are two, I think it was like two Buddhist monks, and one was the master and one was the student. So let's just say the teacher and the student. And when the teacher was saying all these insights and so on, they were giving them the secrets to success, the secrets to peace, wholeness, and all those things, mindfulness. The students struggled. They were stressed. They were confused. And the teacher merely said, look, you are this cup, brings a cup of water, and then started pouring water into that cup. And the cup was overflowing with that water. And the teacher was saying, that's you. You are overflowing in this confusion. You've got to, picks up the cup and empties it. You've got to empty stuff from within you to let more in. So think about that for you. Maybe you've got to empty your cup. Maybe you've got to let go of that stuff and that noise and that stress by deciding your boundaries, by deciding that you are more, by deciding that you're going to rise up, by deciding what you're worth, by deciding that you're of value, even if you don't feel it right now. Your chances are you don't feel like that. You don't feel of worth. You don't feel good enough or capable. Even though you feel those feelings, even if you feel your goals and dreams are out of reach, the start of it is your declaration that even though I'm experiencing this, this is not who I am. It may feel like who you are, but that is just for some of your previous experiences, your decisions, and your conclusions of what you think is true. That's all it is. So in the beginning, it will be hard, but when you decide and declare and you speak louder than the noise outside, you speak louder than the noise within you, all that stress and conflict, and you decide and declare that I am going to get what I am worth. I don't mind if it's a financial abundance. I don't mind if it's a career of your dreams or your promotion. I don't mind if it's a partner of your dreams. I don't mind if it's about your health. But you've got to speak it into life. You've got to give birth to it. Now, if you're thinking about like giving birth to something, we are birthing something big. We are. If you want financial freedom and abundance, that is a big birth. If you want to be able to get the person of your dreams, that's a big ask. But just because it's a big ask, and just because we're birthing something big, we still do it. We still do the work. We make the decision and decide that we're going to get there no matter what. We are going to be the storm. We are going to be the builder. We're going to be the creator and the architect of our desires. It starts small, but it becomes an avalanche very soon. When you start to speak it into existence, once you start to radiate what you want, once you decide that you are more than your past, that you are more than what someone told you that time ago, that you are more than the experience that was so traumatic. You're not going to allow other people, your past, to define who you are. I think when we come together at the end of our life, I want you to go, I lived well. I lived with passion, purpose, and love. And I took on those challenges with that passion, purpose, and love because I am more than that. When it is so dark, I'm looking for the light, not beyond me, but within me. I'm going to speak what has to be spoken. I'm going to do what has to be done. Even though the fear that is there, I'm going to decide on what is right. You see, the fear is not right. The stress is not right. The trauma is not right. It is just our present situation. Even if you feel like you're broken, I get it, I understand it, I felt the exact same way. When I was growing up and I had blushing and all these things, my mom, I remember, take me to like an appointment, and there was these like pills I took and things like that, all these, can't think of the word, like the healthy ones, and nothing worked. And I was like, nothing is working in my life. I went all these avenues and I thought it must be me. I must be the one that's working for other people. I must be broken. I must be unfixable. When you go into that level of doubt, then it is hard, then it is dark. But just because you presently believe you're broken or unfixable, doesn't mean we stop, it means we rise up. We keep on searching and looking for all the things around us to get our life the way that we want it. Give up which no longer serves us, receive what we desire. Assume that feeling of the wish fulfilled and act upon it with conviction. Therefore, you are deeply aligned and congruent in your desire. So give up the reasons, give up the excuses, and that will hurt. Give up the labels, that will hurt. Because the labels that we give ourselves, or labels that were given to us, the stories we tell ourselves, are going to hold us back. And to be honest, it can slightly make us feel better. And you might be thinking, well, Joseph, how can reasons make me feel better? Because it makes us feel like it's not us, it's someone else. If I have so many reasons for staying the same, it lets me off the hook, and therefore I don't have to do anything. The reasons that we tell ourselves to staying the same is the poison which is stopping us get to our dream. So give up those reasons, give up those stories, give up those excuses, even if it hurts, because it will hurt. To give up the belief of I'm not good enough, to give up the belief that I'm unfixable or broken is hard, and it will hurt. Because those are your beliefs and values, and they make up your world. But if we cling on to those beliefs and make them a reality, you're right, they will be your reality for the rest of your life. But if you start today, if you go all in on what you want and make that decision, you are going to get to where you want to be. Reach out for help, get the support, give up the things that no longer serve you, even invest within yourself. Why is it so shameful that we invest in developing ourselves, yet we can go ahead and buy a brand new iPhone and think that's okay? That's another sedation tactic that I'm not going to buy into. I'm going to invest in myself. I've invested over $250,000 in myself over my time, because I am so ready to keep on learning and growing, because there's always something more to learn about myself, about my business, about my world, about my dreams, my goals, and my passions. So when you think about investing, be happy about it. It's not a cost. The cost of staying the same is the cost. Because the cost of the stress, the cost of the doubt, the cost of all those things, the cost of not getting your dreams and goals, that is a horrible cost. So see your emotional, psychological even, your physiological, as an investment to your freedom, which will pay dividends, which will be interest, building up in that wealth bank of your happiness and freedom. And the reason why I say that is because we fall into the fear that we shouldn't do so. Let's give up those illusions. I don't mind if you spend it with me. I don't mind if you spend it with other people. I don't mind if you get a counselor or a coach, whatever it is. I mean, I actually only want to work with one particular person, so there's nothing about me. I only want to work with people who are very success driven, who want to be able to get more out of life, have the wealth and abundance, let go of the imposter syndrome. That's the people I serve, because I've been there. So I'm not saying that you got to invest with me, but please invest within yourself. Invest in where you're heading and in your future, because that comes back. The cost of staying the same, that's the thing we don't want to do. So rise up and take a stand. Do what has to be done. Don't give in to the noise. Don't give in to that little voice on the inside. Give your attention to the signals which are telling you to wake up. that something is wrong, that it's not nice because the anxiety's there, so I'm going to do something about it. This is your opportunity. Imagine, for example, let's just say you and I were talking together. Well, my program is within 8 weeks, but let's just say even if it was in 6 months. So despite, it could be 8 weeks, it could be 6 months, whatever it is, whatever path you go down. But let's say we're having a conversation and I say, how you're doing today? How are you doing? And you say, Joseph, I finally feel liberated. I know my worth. I'm showing up. I'm delivering. I'm receiving. Imagine how good that would feel to have that. What if you kept on going that for another 6 months, another year, another 2 years? Where would you be? Where would you be financially? Where would you be in your career, your business? Where would you be in your relationships, your family, your health? Anything can happen in a brief moment. But that brief moment comes down to you. So let's rise up. Let's do what has to be done. Let's just decide and declare that we're more than what we're experiencing. And maybe that this is your opportunity to get the life that you want. This is what it's about. So with that, I hope you enjoyed this episode. And of course, if you do want my personal help, once again, those that I work with are success-driven professionals who are ready to go all in, who are crazy decisive despite all the fear. So if that's not you, that's okay. We've got the podcast, the app. I only work with a particular kind of person. And that's just because that's what I deliver on the success rate and the results that we get. So that's the reason why. But if you do want to apply, all you got to do is go to josephclough.info/power. And you'll watch a small little masterclass. If that resonates with you, then you'll have to apply for the program. And then once you apply for the program, we'll figure things out, see if you're a good fit. And if you are, we'll then enroll you into your dreams and get the result within 8 weeks. Once again, it is not for everyone, and I actually don't want everyone. I'm only looking for a particular person. It could be you, which would be awesome, but if it's not, look, we're still great friends. I'm still showing up and delivering the free stuff, the app, and all those things. And in fact, even if it's not you, and you want to go ahead and get some confidence, we are doing an unlimited confidence virtual seminar, and that is josephclough.info/event. That is going to be 2 whole days where you transform in your own home to get the confidence that you desire. So it's more general in that way, and you're not really getting obviously my premium program, but I'm taking aspects of my premium program, putting it into the event, doing crazy cool processes and transformations all on a virtual weekend, so I can help you rise up in every single way. And the investment is just, right now anyway, it's $97 for a whole weekend. Excuse me, I'm getting excited. josephclough.info/event. And with that, my friends, I hope you got value from this. I hope that it's awakened something. I hope that you don't give in and you just give up the things that no longer serve you to go all in on what you desire, because I believe you're worth it. I know it in my heart, and I just want you to know it. So with that, I will speak to you on a future episode. Many thanks, and goodbye.